We live in a world ruled by giant companies. Huge companies like Apple, Amazon, Google, and even Johnson & Johnson are all companies that influence our daily lives. But what if we told you that there was one company controlling all of it right under our noses? In this video, we'll be discussing the multinational corporation that's been pulling the strings behind all the biggest companies in the world. And you may be surprised to hear their endgame. This is the story of BlackRock. Rise to the top. To fully understand what BlackRock is, we first need to understand the stock market. To put it in simpler terms, the stock market is basically a betting ground where you bet on companies that you think will succeed. The bets are what's known as shares, and they're the main commodity that makes the stock market run. These shares vary in price. The bigger the company, the higher the price per share, because of course there isn't much risk involved when you're betting on Apple to succeed, right? But the thing is, most people can't afford to buy these shares, and some people don't have the time to manage their investments. This is where BlackRock comes in. BlackRock is a global investment management corporation nestled in the heart of New York City. Founded in 1988 by Larry Fink, Robert S. Capito, Susan Wagner, Barbara Novick, and Keith Anderson, BlackRock was founded with a single goal in mind: to make money by making money for other people. To break it down, investment firms like BlackRock only have two initial investments: trust and other people's money. BlackRock convinces people with the extra cash to entrust this cash to them, so they can invest it for them. No longer would budding investors have to deal with day trading or minimum share prices. They only had to give BlackRock their money, and the rest is history. But what most people don't take into account is the influence that each investment brings. Each time BlackRock invests other people's money in the stock market, the company itself owns a share of that company, and with it, voting rights. Companies with shares of a company, no matter how small, will eventually have a say in what goes on with the company. Now, strap yourselves in, because we're gonna take a deep dive into the industries that BlackRock has been stealing bites of throughout the years. Industry takeover. Industry acquisition has always been the bread and butter strategy that BlackRock has used to earn its fortune. Industry acquisition in stocks means that you have a stake in every major business in a certain industry, regardless of the competition. They've done it before with funeral homes and garbage collection, but big players need big game. The tech industry is one of the biggest industries that BlackRock has a hold on, with major investments in some of tech's biggest players. One of BlackRock's most profitable investments would be a 6.54% stake in Apple that's been valued at around $170.7 billion. And to settle the great Mac versus PC war, BlackRock also owns a 7.22% stake in Microsoft, worth $155 billion. As everyone knows, Microsoft and Apple are two tech giants that constantly battle it out. But no matter which brand customers are loyal to, BlackRock always wins. And if they aren't in your computer, they're just as likely in your medicine. That's because BlackRock also owns some major stakes in the healthcare industry with companies like Merck, Johnson & Johnson, and the United Health Group. While many people may frown at this investment, more money towards medicine is actually a good thing. Sure, sometimes the money part of medicine is given too much emphasis, but BlackRock's investments towards the manufacture and research of new medicine will surely lead to worldwide wellness. Except it won't. And that's what BlackRock doesn't want you to know. One step forward, 3 steps back. As of recently, BlackRock has been full speed ahead on their new marketing strategy, Corporate Social Governance, or CSG for short. If you're a business owner in America or just happen to really like the news, BlackRock's Lawrence Fink recently announced that companies in their portfolio would now be given a social standing score. This score is their company's gauge of whether or not it's socially responsible to invest money into your company. This change was driven by the recent Black Lives Matter movement and climate crisis. A noble effort made in front of the nation to set an example, but truly just a facade for their investors. This CSG move was televised nationwide, and framed BlackRock as a great company that thinks about their investments. But they all failed to mention the fact that BlackRock is also actively driving the world to hell. One of the hypocrisies that the camera doesn't capture is their insistence on investing in companies that actively pollute and deforest, a glaring contrast to what they claim to be. In fact, Fink was named one of America's top climate villains by The Guardian, a name that sounds cartoonish but true. And as much as the company likes to throw up peace signs and call for peace and equality in our time, they're the ones directly responsible for why violent companies continue to exist. With multiple gun manufacturers in their portfolio, all of which produce weapons that can be used overseas, you could say that BlackRock is currently funding wars across the globe. So why then does BlackRock get away with all this hypocrisy? The answer is actually quite easy. Friends in high places. In this day and age, money is power. During the financial crisis of 2008, when all the banks were going bankrupt because of the housing market crash, BlackRock was the company that swooped in and saved everything. As the banks were falling left and right, the US government was looking for anyone at all to take some of the hits. Of course, no one was willing to absorb some of the failing bank's expenses, but BlackRock saw an opportunity. Sure, BlackRock would lose a bunch of money, but they'd also be gaining the favor of the American government. The US government would also come knocking on BlackRock's door for assistance during the infamous coronavirus pandemic, asking for help setting up a bond-buying program that helped stabilize the Federal Reserve. That's right, an entire government was now asking a single company for help digging itself out of a hole. While the deal itself looks like a noble undertaking on the outside, you can't help but wonder what really happened behind closed doors. But it's likely that we'll never know, considering just how much influence that BlackRock has amassed. Larry Fink, the CEO of BlackRock himself, has even been making waves serving as a member of the Council on Foreign Relations and even the World Economic Forum. This influence, coupled by the fact that BlackRock also has a large investment in the communications industry, like Google and even Meta, calls to question just how much power BlackRock has over the media. But probably one of the biggest and most eyebrow-raising political pals would be his relationship with China. Chinese influence. China is a very xenophobic country that only has one policy. China is number one, which makes it doubly surprising that BlackRock was able to negotiate the opening of an equity fund in China. While the extent of these negotiations are unknown, the relationship between BlackRock and China has come into question by American senators. This is coming after multiple investments by BlackRock on publicly listed Chinese companies that, for whatever reason, refuse to divulge their financial statements in compliance with American laws. And what's even weirder is that while these companies refuse to show their statements, they're still collectively valued at about $1 trillion. But as concerning as this news may be, it seems this partnership may soon be coming to an end. These investments and partnerships were made during a time where China was on the rise and their economy was booming. It seems that BlackRock was betting on the Chinese economy to continue rising. But these expectations would not be met. In fact, many speculate that the Chinese economy would collapse in on itself sometime soon. And so BlackRock, always a step ahead, has decided to pull their Chinese equity fund from the market. But regardless of whether or not their partnership with China is dissolved permanently, BlackRock still holds an immense amount of power. Right now, the company is valued at about $117.2 billion. And that value doesn't show any signs of stopping. With a valuation worth multiple countries and the power to influence even entire governments, it's no doubt that BlackRock really does control most of the world. Let's just hope that BlackRock's concern for the future of the planet remains true, and we're in good hands.